when we were living in Los Angeles, when he would take his nap, I would usually sit and read Chaitanya Charitamrita. We had a copy that was translated by some scholar that Gaurasundar had gotten. It was like 7 little volumes, and we would sit and I would sit and read it, or Gaurasundar would also read it too, and while he would take his nap. And so he would come in and he would say, "Oh, what are you reading?" And we would say, "This is Chaitanya Charitamrita." And you know, he saw that we were really interested in this book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so he decided that he would translate it also and make a good translation. And so he engaged Gaurasundar in the transliteration work, and I started typing the transcribing the tapes for Chaitanya Charitamrita, because he wanted to give us that, you know, since there was he could see that we were very eager to read it.
Bahulasa was encouraging Srila Prabhupada about that they had this, they'd set up in front of Berkeley, UC Berkeley, they had a prasadam stand, and they were selling Bengali sweets. And he was going on about this, and Tripurai was there, and Prabhupada stopped, and Prabhupada asked him, he said, how many books did you sell? What was the story? Because Tripurai told him, and some amazing figure. Prabhupada said, "This is the real Bengali sweet, Chaitanya Charitamrita."
There was one very interesting thing happened, that when we moved to the new building in Mayapur, where he was staying in the 3rd floor, but the building was not finished. The toilets were not completed, the piping hadn't been connected. So we had to personally empty the toilet. There'd be a bucket there. And the toilet was there, but there was just no pipe. And he came all of a sudden and we wasn't ready. So we had the service to go, and who could empty out the remnants or whatever, the refuse. But one day, Prabhupada started calling out, "Jaya Pataka, Jaya Pataka." And I didn't know why he was calling out, so I ran to the bathroom. And in the bathroom, Prabhupada was holding the door semi-shut, and there was a snake, a venomous serpent, was stuck in the border of the door, and it was trying to bite Srila Prabhupada, and it was leaping out and just coming and missing him. And he was holding the door, so by the pressure of the door, he was like, the snake was being slightly crushed, so that he couldn't get loose. So like Prabhupada was like this and holding over here, and the snake was half, this much, it was out of the door, and he was trying to get Prabhupada. And so he was like, he had called for me, and then, I saw the situation. So then, somehow I got Prabhupada out of there, and with a stick or something, we hit the snake down, and we got Prabhupada out. And then, this is a very unusual circumstance, and all of a sudden. But afterwards, like Prabhupada, it was. Yes. And he never lost. He was just, it was an urgent situation, so he was calling, but it was never that. He was always under the circumstance, cool and calm, and never lost his. Then he was trying to find out where the others. They said that if there's one, there must be two, because they always go in pairs. We could never. The other one disappeared down a hole, and we could never find it.
One thing I was thinking, he was sitting on the rooftop of the Honolulu temple once, and getting a massage, I think by Sruti Kirti, and the rooftop of the Honolulu temple faces the back of Nuuanu Valley, which is very beautiful. It usually has a rain cloud about the color of Krishna, and it usually has a rainbow, 1 or 2 rainbows. It's a very beautiful, beautiful area. And so that day there was a rainbow, and he became very poetic, and he started talking about how the rainbow has the 3 colors of the material nature: the red for the passion, and the yellow for the sattva guna, and the blue for the tamagun, and how all the modes of nature are coming from these three colors, just like on the artist's palette, red, yellow, and blue are the primary colors, and all the other colors are made from those. He was saying how these three colors in the rainbow, these three colors of those three gunas, all the various mixtures of gunas the living entities are coming from those three. It was very poetic and very beautiful.
Actually, Prabhupada was walking down the stairway in Calcutta, and there were many devotees, I think like Tamal Krishna and so many different devotees were there. And Prabhupada was going down the step, and his step slipped a little bit. It looked like he was almost going to fall down the stairway. And one of the senior devotees said, "Watch out, Srila Prabhupada." And then Prabhupada just stopped and looked, and he said that it is your responsibility to watch out. You have to take care of the body of the spiritual master. And the spiritual master will look out for your spiritual well-being. But as far as whether I fall or not, that you have to guard against.
That Prabhupada, but he turned to Akendra, Rupanuga's son, who I guess was maybe 7 or 8. He said, "Akendra, lead kirtan." So little Akendra, he plays key with the, Nama Om and Shri Krishna and Hare Krishna like that. When he was done, Prabhupada called him over, reached into his dhoti, and gave him a $10 bill, $5, $10, something, said, "Buy yourself a red fire engine." And Prabhupada said, "Children like the color red."
I have one photograph at home of Prabhupada sitting and holding a globe and turning the globe around. It's a color photo, and he's saying, Brahmananda will go here, Gargamuni will go here, describing, he's just turning the globe and at all the countries. And here we are, a handful of teenagers, mind you, who can't even get it together, don't even know how to brush their teeth or whatever, and he's got it all in his mind with this globe that he's going to send us all over the world and open centers all over the world. And he was extremely interested in Russia. He always talked about Russia. And he always wanted that Russia should receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
We were walking in a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada in North Calcutta. And then Srila Prabhupada just said, "Oh, here's a life member." He was a very wealthy man. For some reason, Prabhupada wanted to just stop in at his house, so he walked in, and the servant came out and he said, "Tell your master that Bhaktivedanta Swami is here." So then, after some time, the servant came out and said, "Babu puja korta hai," that the master is doing puja. He's doing worship of his deity. He'll be here after some time. So then Prabhupada just commented that Krishna is more pleased when the devotee is served than when he's served. And that if this person was a more advanced devotee, he would appreciate it that here a spiritual master has come and left his deity worship to receive the devotee of Krishna. But because he's thinking that his deity worship is more important than receiving the devotee of Krishna, this shows that he's a neophyte or a Kanishtadikari.
The Jehovah's Witnesses came to visit once in Los Angeles, and so Prabhupada said, "Let them in." So I let them in. And they sat and they talked with him in his room, and they were preaching, their philosophy, and apparently they believe that within this body, I don't really know their philosophy that well, but within this body you will become liberated, and this body is eternal. And Prabhupada kept asking him, "With this body? With this body?" Like he was just incredulous that they could actually believe that this body was eternal. And so, but he was very polite to them and very nice, and he didn't really preach to them. He just wanted to know what they're teaching here in this country. And so then as they left, he had me give them a little brochure. There was a drawing of the Universal Form that I had made, and it was a little brochure describing Chant Hare Krishna. It had a picture of Lord Vishnu on the front with all the arms. And so he asked me to give them a copy of this as a gift, because I think they gave him some literature too. And then the next morning, whenever he went out on his walk, he saw that it was on the street, had been run over by a car. And he was really disturbed, and he said, oh, we should not give out such freely. You know, he was distressed that the Lord's picture had been run over by the car.
There was one time a thief